Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. G. Spaced out. Got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west. Can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Every time. Rack 'em up. Since 96. Yeah. Been number one in LA. Something slight. That's the gist.
Oh my god, bro! I've been in this whole time. That's okay. Okay. We're live now. We're live. You can hear me now, please. Can I see someone in the chat? Okay, I'm pretty sure it's working now. Yeah. So we're a little bit late today. I had a COVID league game. Payne's didn't do an intramural, so he won't be joining us today. So it's just going to be me. We'll have Worship LA Galaxy, now known as LA Galaxy Commentary, joining me probably in like 10-ish minutes. So, for now, we're solo doling this thing. Technical difficulties out the way. Prior to what I was saying before I realized my mic was muted, I was saying that there's a kind of an interesting week of LA Galaxy soccer, not the kind of result we're looking for over at the weekend. And, we're going to be here to talk about that. We got a game tomorrow versus Mount Pleasant Academy. We got some interesting news about that. We'll dive into that a little bit later with Worship, or Brandon, I should say. We got news for some injuries. We got some Diego Fagundes news. I posted about that earlier. And we got some money news for LA Galaxy. I mean, we're low. We got no GAM. So we'll dive into that. Champions Leagues today. Let me know if your team won today. Obviously, Barca, my team, we draw. Last minute penalty from Lamine. our boy Payton lost in like Liverpool. It was a good hate watch in the morning game. So we'll we'll dive that if we need to. You know, we might be lacking content, so I'm a few of you guys in the chat. There we go. They did even dominate us. Let's be for real. But we're talking Galaxy Soccer here. So first off, we'll get started with the less important news, I guess you could say. Our main man Diego Fagundes, obviously had him on the pod probably like a month ago now. Is at the start of the season. He has been training with New England Revolution over in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, he kind of started his career at the New England Revolution, being their first homegrown player. He was good for us. Obviously, he was at a high salary. I believe it was around 1.5, so he's almost high TAM salary for us. But I think the Diego Fagundes kind of controversy was that he didn't want to take a lower salary to be with us, so it never kind of worked out with the Galaxy. Obviously, when he was on here, he said there was no contact between the Galaxy and himself for a new contract negotiations. So, obviously he's not with us. Training with the Revs. Obviously, before this, he was linked with Penarol in Uruguay, and now he's looking to be with the Revs. No contract signed. He's obviously training with them, but I think he will be signing with the Revs most likely. I'm pretty sure he's like one goal off or one assist off of his 80-80 record, and he'd be in elite company with that. I can't remember the other players, but I mean they're top players. He's spent his whole life in this career. I'm pretty sure he got signed to the Revs when he was like 15 years old. I remember there was this documentary that came out from him. It's like MLS 360 or whatever in the early 2010s, and it was going through his life and kind of a day in the life of Diego Fagundes as an academy player at New England Revolution. I don't know if anyone else was watching that back in the day. Might just be an MLS sicko myself, but he was a player I looked up to when I was younger. Obviously, he had the mohawk hair. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember Stefan El-Shawari. Him and El-Shawari made me have a mohawk. Think about that. You probably don't want to think about that actually, but he's a great player, great guy. Had him on the pod. Can't speak highly enough about him. So he will be looking to go to the Revs, it looks like. So we don't play the Revs this season, so we won't be seeing him. But one important thing that I kind of saw was we never gave this guy like a farewell post. Obviously Miguel Berry and Zavaleta got their goodbye post because they didn't get re-signed, but come around the end of the season last year, it was said that he would be in contract negotiations with the team to see if he can come back. Didn't happen. So we never got farewell post. So I'm wondering if he does become official with the Revs, if the Galaxy will give him his goodbye. And he was obviously an integral part of that 2024 squad that got us the MLS Cup. So I think Diego Fagundes, great servant to the club. Obviously, he was in one of the brightest points of the Galaxy's latest tenure, but he also was in one of the darkest times. And like Bagchase says, once a G, always a G. I can't speak enough highly about him. Obviously, I think it's just his contract that, didn't work out with us. So, Diego Fagundes, Revolution, that's the news on him. We'll go to our next point. Mr. Emiro Garces. Obviously, he was out through injury in that second leg versus the Concacaf Champions Cup. He didn't play in that. Obviously, we thought that he was going to be the starting center back because he got a red card, so he wouldn't be playing in the next day or the next game over the weekend, which would be in the Colorado Rapids. So we thought, he probably get his full 90 at this point so he can, get up to speed. But he didn't play. Greg Vanney said that he had an injury in his toe, surprisingly. This was sustained during Coachella, and he's kind of just playing through it. And he was talking about it in the press conference after the NYCFC game. Is like the reason I was going to sub him off, and he was about to come off prior to his red card, probably
seconds later, he went and, just absolutely demolished, who was it? Nico Fernandez Mercal. So his toe was hurt prior to that, and he was moving pretty gingerly, and then he got the red card. And so Greg Van is talking about how he wanted to use this time to kind of heal his toe and get him back to full health because it's still early in the season. You shouldn't be carrying knocks, and so Emil Garza's toe injury. He wasn't even the match day squad versus Colorado, so he didn't travel to Colorado. It isn't too serious, so I mean, he should be back for SKC, maybe on the bench for the game tomorrow. But it sucks because I think on his day, Emiro Garces is one of the best center backs in MLS. You saw in the 2024 season, he was one of I think alongside Yoshida, he was probably the strongest center back. So yeah, like Paintsel said, we need him back, and we got Paintsel news for you, Mr. Paintsel fan. I don't think you're gonna like this one. Later on, we'll get into that later. But Emiro Garza is still out through injury. I expect him to be back this weekend versus SKC. Greg Van didn't talk about him today in the press conference, so we don't have much about him. So that's our Emiro Garza's news. We'll go into questions from the chat. So if you have any questions, I mean, we're trying to run by the time so we can get our guest, Brandon from LA Galaxy Commentary on. He should be on maybe next 10-ish minutes. So, yeah, if you guys have been watching, Mr. Alajuanze is beating LAFC currently. So, I mean, goes for full circle for them. So, that would be hilarious. I mean, obviously, who knows what's going to happen? I think it's halftime right now. Someone can fact check me on that. But I didn't see the goal because I was getting this up. I just came back from a co-ed league game. So, this is kind of on the fly. I'm just spewing stuff out. Chances Garces plays. I don't think we're going to see him play. I think maybe he makes the matchday squad for SKC on the weekend, but I don't know if he plays. Maybe we can use him on the wing for his pace because, I mean, we're pretty low on wingers. We'll get into that as well. Info about tomorrow's game. We'll dive into that right now, actually, because we got a lot about that. So here it is. Our opponents, Mount Pleasant FC, are having visa issues with the current administration. There's 10 players total that didn't get their visas, so they can't come into the country, 7 of them being Haitians. And, it's going to be advantage LA Galaxy, like the title says. They're going to be missing 10 players. And with that, the Galaxy, I mean, if we don't win this game by at least 3, I mean, it's kind of going to be an upset. I mean, so I don't know what you guys think. I think if we don't beat these guys, it might be Hall of Fame worst performances in Concacaf history. This happened not too long ago with Austin FC. They played Violette in Concacaf. I think it was in the round of 16. And it is a similar situation. Violette had a bunch of Haitian players in there from Central America. I forget what country they're from, but they would travel to Austin and they had to sign these guys on like short-term contracts from the USA, like random guys from the USA to join the team to play against Austin FC. And they ended up losing that game 2-0 in Austin. But in the return leg, in whatever country they're from, they actually beat Austin FC 3-0, and they advanced to the next round of the group stage. So, I mean, that's kind of crazy. So that's like worst case scenario for the Galaxy. Obviously, you don't want to get complacent with them, and that would be really bad. Obviously, our favorite guy over here, Kick a Ball LAFC fan, your team's down 1-0, so you better pipe down. But, Mount Pleasant, they're kind of in shambles. Whether you say that's, I'm not sure how the visa process works and all, but I mean, having 10 players gone, that's going to be like whole start 11. So it'll be interesting to see how many players they have on the bench. Maybe they'll have 11 players total. So that'd be kind of crazy to see. let's go score predictions right now. Let's talk about score predictions. So if you guys got score predictions for this game, throw them in the chat. For this game, I think anything less than a 3-0 result is going to be kind of embarrassing. Obviously, Peck got a red card in the Colorado game, so he won't be available for SKC. So I expect him to go full 90 for tomorrow's game. We got Slonto the Goat saying 3-1. I think if we concede a goal, that's gonna be really sad. But I like the 3 goals, so I'm a fan of that. Pencil saying 2-0. This game's gonna be, it better be high scoring. Is anyone going to the game? We got 4-0 for Germany. Peck 5-0. Peck brace, Klaus brace, and a wind. I would love that bag chaser. I think the more we can get, the more the merrier. I think we need to bring the most advantage into the return leg because they're going to have their full strength squad, and by the next leg of the game is going to be on the following Wednesday. So next Wednesday was March 18th, I believe. So we will be without Painzel for that game. Emilio Garcia should be back for that game. Peck will be available for that game. Odds we get a shutout, I think, is very high. I think it's going to be another kind of similar situation where they're going to play a low block, and they're just going to play 11 men behind the ball. If they even have 11 players on the field, they're going to play everyone behind the ball. And I think the key to this game is you have to get an early goal. You saw this in the previous game versus our previous opponent in Concacaf. We didn't get that early goal, and they sat back. The longer the teams are in the game, like these Central American teams, that's the more dangerous it gets. So I think having them be without a goal early on, that's going to be the kind of a struggle for the Galaxy. I think if we get that early goal, game's over, ties over, and then it's just the floodgates will open, and that's kind of what we're missing with the previous game. We didn't get an early goal. We were struggling to create chances. The team were sitting back and they hit us on the break. And obviously it's kind of a terrible scenario where they scored the first goal at home. So we got to come out flying. Obviously we're hosting this game. So we have to get the lead in the first leg, because when we go over to their place, we know how we play in Central America. We saw it last year. We saw it this year. We struggle. I don't know what it is about Central America teams, but we're just not clicking. So we're gonna have to score early. That's my key to the match. We're gonna ask Brandon when he hops in what his key to the match is. I want to hear what you guys think about the game. Obviously, we got your score predictions. We'll go goal scorers. Who do you think is gonna get a goal? Who do you think is gonna be man of the match? Let me get a sip of water real here. But I think if we don't get the early goal, I say first 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna start getting nervous. But I think if you get a goal first 20 minutes, obviously you saw, I hate talking about our noisy neighbors, but LAFC, they got an early goal in the first 10 minutes against whoever they play in the first leg, and they completely shut them down, because then that forces them to kind of step up, because they have to actually get a goal. They can't just sit back the whole game and never attack. And you saw that with our team in the previous leg. We didn't get a goal. They continue to sit back because they thought they had the chance. And if you get a goal early on, you're going to force them to come out and play. And you saw when teams try to go toe-to-toe with us, you saw in Charlotte, NYCFC for that first half before the red card, Colorado before the red card. When teams go toe-to-toe with us, I think we're the better team. But when teams kind of sit back, we almost kind of play to their level. We play to the Central American team's level, and that level is way lower than the level of this team. So, I think if that's the case, we're going to be in for a long game. Obviously, we're going to be at home. Is anyone going to this game? Obviously, it's a midweek. I'm pretty sure kickoff's at 6:30. And if we go through this stage, we play Toluca or SD, like Backchaser said. So, who knows? Obviously, before the season started, we were always saying if we get to the quarterfinals, it's going to be Toluca. But San Diego is pretty good. I can't lie. I hate saying it. I hate saying that these local teams are doing good, but all the California teams are currently 3-0 in MLS, and we're 1-1-1. So I wouldn't count out San Diego. I can't lie. So who knows what's going to happen with that game? That would be interesting one. I think their game kicks off at 8:00. So maybe during halftime of our game, you can watch a little bit of their game to see what we're going to be coming up against if we make it through. Painful saying I'd rather play SD. I don't know. I look to rather play Toluca. I think SD is kind of like the X factor in this Concacaf Champions Cup. You never know what you're going to get with them. We have kind of tough luck. Obviously, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot in those 2 games we played against them so far, but who knows what's going to happen with them. Terrible history with them. Obviously, when we went over to their place, there's a ton of fights. That kind of brawl in that upper bowl, that was kind of dangerous where people were almost kind of tripping themselves up. So if we play SC, it's going to be a rough game. So I look here, I play Toluca. Obviously, Toluca's got a good supporting fan base, traveling crew that will probably come and kind of take over a side. I'm pretty sure in the LFC game I was watching on the way home, they're keep getting out voiced by the Alajuelense fans. So that was kind of funny to watch. And then they cut to the LFC fans and their mic goes up and they're like, okay, you're saying that these fans are the best in MLS, but you need a mic to make yourself loud. And the Alajuelense fans have no roof over them, no mic, and they're out voicing the 35-32 or whatever it's called. So, I mean, it's funny to see what them and their fan base. Alajuelense is from Costa Rica, I'm pretty sure. We got a question a comment in the chat saying, when we went against Toluca, we did good, we just got unlucky. Yeah, I agree. We had them almost. It was 2 set pieces in the final 10 minutes, and we just absolutely laid an egg. So it's an interesting game, that one. I think we went toe to toe with them, and that was in one of our worst seasons. And Toluca were the double champion of Liga MX, and they got pretty far in the prior Concacaf Champions League. So, I think we have a pretty good chance against Toluca. So I'd rather play Toluca low-key. I agree with you, Jeremy. So we're still waiting on Mr. Brandon. I'm pretty sure he's grabbing dinner. So once he gets in, we'll batter him with some questions. So he'll be in here soon, I imagine. I'll check my DM right now, actually, see if he responded. I know Instagram DMs are bugged right now for some reason. Yeah, no DM from him yet. We'll go into our next point here. We'll go into Colorado. Man, that was rough. I don't know if any of you guys tuned into the watch along with me and Peyton and obviously the Lacuna boys that hopped on with us. We were watching this game, and in that first half, in the 15 minutes in the second half, before Mr. Peck got a red card, I thought we were the better team. Their first goal by Darren Yappi, that came against the run of the play. We were completely dominating the play, but one goal against the run of the play, they get it. Obviously, early in the second half, Klaus gets that goal, assisted by Gabriel Peck. That was a pretty nice game, pretty nice goal. But yeah, like Jeremy says right here, that first yellow card was not deserved. And it comes to bite us in the butt later on when Peck goes in and he probably thought, I don't know if you guys have seen that clip from Sebastian Berhalter that MLS posted, but he probably thought he was Sebastian Berhalter tracking back with that behind kind of slide tackle, but, it didn't pan out to probably what he's thinking in his mind. So he takes out Rafa Navarro and gets a second yellow card, and he's going to miss SKC over the weekend. Early in the first half, or it's probably like around 30-ish minutes, Paintsol goes out with an injury, I believe, or maybe it was early in the second half. Paintsol goes out, and we'll go into that news. He will be out for maybe 3 to 4 weeks with a mild hamstring injury. I'm sure this is probably a hamstring strain. These things, he's been dealing with these things for a while, and it hurts for him because he's in a World Cup year. He's fighting for a spot for the Ghanaian national team. And to see him go out with a hamstring injury. Blessing Paintsel in the chats saying no. I'm sure Paintsel fans going to hop in here soon. He's going to say no as well, but it sucks because his hamstrings are made of glass. It's I don't know if you guys seen that meme, but the dude's having like ribs or whatever, and then he holds it up and it just all falls off. That's Pinsel's hamstring, and I'm pretty sure last year at the start of the season he was out with a hamstring injury, and these things you can't rush. I had a hamstring injury myself, probably 2 years ago now. Oh, look who's here! We got our guy. So welcome to the stage right here. Welcome, LA Galaxy commentary. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Tab, for inviting me on. I'm doing great today. How are you doing, Tab?
I'm doing great as well. I've been soloing this podcast. I think this is the first solo podcast in Talking Galaxy history. So, I think we had the technical difficulties at the start with my mic. It turns out it's just me the whole time. It wasn't even my mic. So, it was a rough start. But now we got you here. So we'll start off with a recent game, Colorado. Can we get your opinion on it?
I think that this could have easily been a draw. I think, if anything, the changes that were made after the red card, I think weren't the correct ones. I feel like instead of subbing off, when subbing off Klaus, I think you should have brought on someone like Hack or Sanabria earlier to try to preserve the point, because Greg Vanney tried to save players for CCC, but at the same time he wanted to win the game. That's why he brought on Nascimento and Tommy. But when you're down a man, that just can't happen. And I think I'm not necessarily blaming Greg Vanney, but I think that should have been the priorities, to save for CCC and at least get a point, because a 1-1 draw in Colorado was going to be a good result anyway. So
yeah. Like obviously I've always kind of been trash in Colorado. You saw it last year. Obviously, I think it was 2-0 to them, so we got shut out over there. But the previous year, obviously, we beat them in the playoffs, and we it was 4-1, I think, at their place, or 3-1. But that game was tightly contested. So it wasn't until later in the game where Ricky got that late goal, and I'm pretty sure someone else got a late goal. So it wasn't until late on, when the game was practically over, that we kind of put BTA to them. But these Colorado games, they're always tough. I'm pretty sure in the 2024 season, during the regular season, we lost to them at their place as well. So it's not like this team always does good in Colorado. This team has been consistently bad and historically bad in Colorado. So that's why I think you take this game with a grain of salt. Obviously, Charlotte, we smack them around and we show them who's boss. Colorado didn't go out to what we kind of planned out, but I think obviously SKC were missing Peck and Paintsel. So, these games are going to be tough because we're going to be missing 2 DPs. We were just talking about this earlier. Painsel's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks with them out hamstring strain. What's your opinion on that? Obviously, it's tough. We got 2 Paintsel fans in here. We got Blessing Paintsel and Paintsel fan that, are heartbroken. So are you with them as well?
Kinda. The only complaint I pretty much have about Paintsel is that I think he should be technical, right? When you have a left winger, you need a technical guy that can dribble and try to be as creative as possible to feed Klaus and whatever. But, I think this might be an opportunity for someone else to step up, Harbor Miller, Cuevas. I think if the red card for Peg doesn't happen in this Colorado game, I think Cuevas has a great game at left wing. But unfortunately, the red card happened and you had to shift him to the right, and then all of that happened. So I'm pretty heartbroken that we're not gonna have Paintsel, but I think it's time for someone else to step up. We saw Harbor Miller do that last year at left wing, if you remember, against Colorado. Yeah. And I think it's time for someone to step up, and I hope it's either my GOAT Miller or my GOAT Cuevas.
Yeah, I think that's probably our starting wingers at the weekend versus SKC. Obviously, you got Lepley that can play in the wing as well, prior on the right wing, I think, because he's almost that Peck kind of build where he's lefty, he's technical, he's quick, he's shifty. So you think maybe he could get some minutes in there towards the end of the game, maybe swapping off with Miller. I think Cuevas will kind of has that left wing kind of locked on with for tomorrow's game. We got Blessing Painstill saying Miller 100%. I think we all agree that Miller's probably going to be our starting winger versus SKC. Cuevas was class. I have kind of a criticism about Cuevas this season. Obviously, last season he had kind of his breakout year, you could say, and he was sending in crosses, and that was kind of his thing where he'd send in pitch perfect crosses, and Nascimento got on the end of a couple, Peck got on the end of a couple, Ramirez got on one, I think, towards the end of the season, and Cuevas was kind of balling out, and you're thinking, oh, he's got the right back spot on locks. But, early in the season, during the Concacaf game versus San Miguelito, I thought he was really poor. I thought his crossing, which is his best attribute, was pretty tragic. I can't lie. And even when he came on to Colorado, I think in the early part, he's kind of getting his feet under him in the altitude. But his first initial crosses were pretty trash as well. But I think he increasingly got better. And honestly, after the red card, you kind of take everything that happens with a grain of salt. Can't criticize him for that. But, I want to see Cuevas from last season. I want to see his crosses get better. I want to see him get those pinpoint crosses into Klaus because, we got a real target now. And if he can get those crosses on, I think we're going to be in a good spot. So that's what I want to see from him. We got a question in the chat saying thoughts on Winder. We'll start with you. Is that your guy?
I like Winder. I think he is a solid guy. I just didn't agree with how Vanny played him against Colorado because you had Winder, Royce, and I think it was Surreal, right? Surreal. And when you're playing someone like Winder, you cannot be playing someone like Royce because what is Winder supposed to be playing? Is he supposed to be playing a 6, an 8, a 10? Because in my opinion, I think Winder is a 10 or an 8. But if you're playing Marco Reus, obviously it's not going to work together. And I think Winder has a lot of potential. I think he should be the starter, the starting 10. He's not a playmaker like Ricky, but he's solid. And I think that's what we need right now. Solid.
Yeah, I think last week I compared Winder to Sergio Busquets with his kind of build. He's got that composure to turn out of pressure and kind of get up the field and break lines with his passes. So I'm really high on Winder. I think that, he's going to be our midfielder for the future. Obviously, his Joshua Winder is, I'm pretty sure, in Benfica right now for their second team. So I think our Winder, Elijah Winder, I think he's got the potential to make a European jump in the future. Obviously, he's been last year. He had that kind of growth spurt to kind of get to where he is this season. And he kind of saw it towards the end of last season where he kind of grew into that spot that was left by Marky Delgado.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I think Winder, he's got his feet under him now. He's playing on fire, out of his mind, I think. So, I think this is going to be season. I think currently in the depth chart, I think he's ahead of Sanabria. Do you agree with that?
Ooh, that's difficult because there's a lot of midfielders. Sanabria right now is actually doing really well as well. Yeah. So I really think that the midfield should be Cerrillo, Sanabria, and Winder. I think that would be my ideal 3 because I like how all 3 of them have been playing this season. I liked how they played against Charlotte, so I would love to see that trio go in our midfield.
Yeah, same here. That's what I think in the last podcast, me, Peyton, and Griffin were all saying I think that's going to be the midfield that we are taking into Colorado. But obviously, Vanny started Royce. Me and the Lacuna guys were talking about it towards the start of our watch long. We're all surprised that Royce is going to be starting. Yes. I think Rob Halone was saying that he was predicting that Royce was going to be in the starting lineup, and that was his prediction that what Greg Vanny was going to do. But all of our personal predictions were all saying that we should have started what we started in Charlotte because that worked. And I think in Colorado with the altitude, we need players that are going to cover ground. And Marco Reus is not the player that's going to cover ground at the ripe age of 38 years old. And we saw him. He was struggling. Obviously, he had some decent little chance creations, some key passes, I think. He probably had one, according to FootMob. He had a couple of nice slip passes into Peck and Painstill when they were still on. But, he almost looked like lost in the midfield. I think whether that's due to the altitude or maybe his just stamina in the game overall, he struggled. So I would have liked to see Sanabria came on early, like you kind of said. I wish he started. I wish he'd seen same midfield that we ran out for Charlotte versus Colorado, but that wasn't meant to be. So now we're just playing a game of what could have been over in Colorado.
Yeah.
Do you have any other takes that you want to talk about the Colorado game?
I think that Marco Reus playing an 8 was just not the right position. I think in his later years, Marco Reus is a guy that you want to be playing as a false 9 or a 10. Playing as an 8, you have to cover in the MLS. You have to be moving around. Marco Reus isn't the kind of guy to be doing that. I think if you're going to be starting Marco Reus, it has to be at the 10 position or a false 9. But obviously, due to Klaus, you're going to be playing him as a 10, but playing him as an 8 was just a mistake. You either start Winder or you start Royce. You can't. Both of them can't start at the same time. We've seen it against Colorado, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and you kind of saw it in the start of the preseason as well. I'm pretty sure the game versus Chicago Fire, we started with the Winder, Royce, and then who was the other one? Was it Snobber?
I think so.
Yeah,
Rio. I'm not sure. I have to.
Oh yeah. Anyways, the point was that Royce and Winder both started in the midfield together, and you saw that there's a kind of a disconnect between the midfield, and you kind of saw that in the Colorado game as well. So I think if we want to be the best team possible, I don't think Royce and Winder got to be in the same starting 11. I think when Royce came off the bench versus Charlotte, he was pretty effective, and we saw in the 2024 season when he came off the bench and played kind of an 8, that he was pretty effective as well. And you saw last season, obviously, he had that kind of purple patch where he got a ton of goal contributions and he played well. But that's not always going to be consistent with Royce. Obviously, he's had his fair share of injuries. I'm pretty sure his hamstrings are kind of like pencils where it just falls right off. So you never know with Royce. You don't know what you're going to get with him. He's kind of the X factor because you don't know if you're going to get 2024 Royce or you're going to get 2025 Royce where he's absolutely covering no ground and he gets the ball every once in a while, but you don't know if he's going to create a chance or whatnot. So who knows with Royce? I think it's a tough situation, and Greg Vanney, obviously Royce has a pedigree being the European star, so he has he wears a captain's armband when Yoshida's not on, and he takes ownership, but you didn't really see that. You kind of saw he was lost in the Colorado game. So
yeah, he was forced to be on the side.
Yeah,
I didn't see him move up and down and stuff like that. That's not. Yeah, he was unsure what to really do because playing an 8, he was playing as a right 8. He wasn't playing a center 8. If he was playing a center 8, I think he'd be more. Yeah, I agree with Blessing Paintsel. I've said this when Royce was first signed in 2024, I was like, oh, he's gonna start. He's starting caliber. But then as time progressed, I think the most effective way to use Royce is off the bench. You bring him off the bench, you can bring him on for Winder, whatever. You play him when legs are tired. He will give you a better last 30 minutes from the 60th to the 90th rather than from minute 1 to minute 60. He gives you a mediocre minute 1 to minute 60. He'll give you a better 60 to 90.
Yeah, I agree. We got Sam on chat saying Royce should be off the team. Royce last week he signed a contract extension. So I mean, Samuel, I got bad news for you, but he's going to be here for a little longer.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, but I think it's too early. As Peyton said the other week, it's too early. I think you should have waited at least until August or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Royce in the team where you have Ricky Puig starting, he's kind of helping out Ricky Puig, kind of being a supplemental piece rather than a main piece to your team. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he can be your starter playing 75 minutes in a game. I think if he plays 30 minutes towards the end of the game, I think that's where he's most effective, and we saw that in the 2024 season. But moving on to our game tomorrow, I kind of talked about earlier when you weren't on. Our boys from Haiti will not be making the travel. Obviously, the team we're playing tomorrow is from Jamaica, but they got, I think, 7 Haitian players that didn't get their visas, so they can't make the team. They got 3 other players, so they got a total of 10 starting players that will not be making the travel to California for their Concacaf Champions Cup clash versus us. So I was talking about it earlier as well. Austin FC had a similar situation where they played Violette, and they had, I think, something around 5 Haitian players, and they couldn't get into the country as well. This is in 2023, and they had to sign players that were semi-pro in the U.S. to help fill up their roster. And they also had to sign a bunch of academy players to contracts so they can make the move because they were able to get visas. So it's a whole kind of just controversy. And in that game, Austin FC won the first leg 2-0 versus Violette. And then actually in the return leg in Austin, or in wherever Violette is, Central America, whatever country that is, they actually beat Austin 3-0 and they advanced to the next stage. So, I mean, you don't want that to kind of history to repeat itself. So
That's my concern.
Yeah. You don't want to have them kind of take this game too lightly. Obviously, I think you kind of saw that in the previous game versus San Miguelito. They came into the game thinking that they're the boss. They're going to absolutely dominate because, their MLS teams were dominating their opposing teams. So they probably thought, oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to smack these guys around. And then we got an MLS game on the weekend, so I was focused on that. But, you can't take your mind off the current game because these Central American teams, they got heart and they play hard.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to play a similar kind of formation and kind of tactically the same as San Miguelito, where they sit 11 men behind the ball. And I was saying early in the pod as well that I think the key to this match is getting a goal early. We didn't see Galaxy got one goal in that game, and it was late in the away match, in the away tie. So I think we got to be on our game and we got to get a goal early. I think if we get a goal early, that forces them to come out, and then that opens up gaps where players can kind of drop into. You see Peck, when he has space, he can do good, but when they condense the space against Peck, when they condense space against Pansel, obviously Pansel won't be in this game, but when they condense space, specifically around Peck, you see he struggles. So that's my key to the match. I think an early goal, I say in the first 30 minutes or even the first half, if we get a 1-0 lead, I think we're going to be fine. But if we don't get a goal into the second half, that's going to be trouble. So if you had to pick one key to the match, what would it be?
Ooh, this one's difficult because I can definitely, the defense, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about our defense. I think Glesnes is going to be having another solid game. We've been using him for every single minute of our matches, and I think he's going to be solid. But I think the key to the match will be who steps in for Paintsel. I definitely think that whoever steps in for Paintsel will be having an effect because you're not really seeing much of who's going to step in for Paintsel. So I think he will be whoever starts at left wing. This could be Miller, this could be Cuevas, this could be maybe even Peck left wing, and then Cuevas right wing. I don't know. Whoever fills in for Paintel's role will be the guy to be the difference maker, and Klaus.
Yeah, I think Cuevas is probably to step in personally. I think you agree with that as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if we have Cuevas, I mean, that's one way to break down a low block is set it in crosses. And then you have big man Joao Klaus at 6'3", 6-foot tree. He'll probably get his head on something. So obviously got his head on the goal on the weekend. He's been an aerial threat all over, and he's just a fox in the box. So if you can get crosses into him, I haven't looked at the players that actually are going to be missing for who are we playing tomorrow? Mount Pleasant. Yeah, I haven't looked at the players that are going to be missing, but I know if they're missing a center back and they got a makeshift center back, I think Klaus and the front three are going to have a field day. So we'll see.
Hopefully
what that will be. But I think that's you said your thing. Your key to the match is whoever's stepping in for Pansel to have a good game.
Yes.
My prediction is get a goal early. That's the chat. What is your key to the match, guys? Oh yeah, Sam brings up a good chat. Nas is
oh dear, I forgot about this.
We got so many red cards. It actually makes 3 red cards in 5 games.
Yes.
Talking about Concacaf Champions Cup as well. So you gotta, how are you gonna get fouled on your day off? I mean, that's just crazy. We're talking about players that stock went down in the Lacuna instant reaction. We were talking about how Justin Hack got his kind of stock went down and he didn't even play. I don't know what Vandy's going to do, but I want to see Hack play eventually.
I want to see Hack at center back. I think he's a better center back than he is at CDM, but Vandy plays him as CDM to preserve that 4-3-3, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think he's behind Snobber and Winder and Surreal in that fact for the 6th position. I think he's ahead of Parente. Parente has been playing minutes with VCFC. He played over the weekend versus, I think they played Austin, I'm pretty sure.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I mean, they won in penalties. So I think VCFC is 1-1 and technically tied one, but won on the penalty kick shootout. So they're doing good. Your boy Harper Miller scored some nice goals. Dylan Vanny had a nice goal.
Yeah, that was a beautiful free kick.
Yeah, that's nice. And then we got a player that used to be at the Galaxy Academy, but he went overseas, then he came back. Julian Palacios. Yeah, he's been on fire. He had 2 goals in the first game over at Cal Lutheran. So he's looking like a maybe someone that can step in for Nacionales as a backup striker. I mean, actually, we got Ruben Ramos. So I think if we need to, I think Ruben Ramos comes up at the 9, and Payne's going to be super happy because he gets more minutes. I'm not sure if anyone else has heard the bet that me and Peyton got going on, but I said, this is no hate to Ruben, but I said Ruben Ramos isn't going to get over 190 minutes, which was his total minutes for last season. And Payne thinks he's going to get over that amount. So we put a jersey on the line. So we'll see what happens with that one. Yeah. We got another bet going on that West Ham's going to stay up. Do you have a Prem team?
I'm on the same boat as Peyton, Liverpool, but I want West Ham to stay up because I do want to see Spurs getting relegated. By the way,
that game was crazy today. The Tottenham UCL game where the keeper actually just had 2 blunders in the first, I think, 15 minutes or so. He slips and then easy tap in for Lorente, and then same thing happens with, I think it was Julian Alvarez. He got an easy tap in from the keeper, and keeper comes off within I think the 19th minute he comes off or something. So I mean,
they were down 4-0 within 22 minutes. By the way, this was like us. That was our performance too.
I know. What about Liverpool though? I was watching that game. It was the early kickoff. It reminded me of the Galaxy. We had chances early on, but then a corner kick set piece comes in and Galatasaray gets the goal.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on Liverpool? We'll just slightly tap into UCL for a sec because we're running out of Galaxy news, so we'll fill up some time.
Yeah. I'm concerned. Galatasaray is a proven team. They did do it. They did beat us in the group stage. They did beat us now. Liverpool have been struggling. They have been dropping form, and it's looking like we're going down to the Europa League again. And we were in Europa League in 24-25. Or no, was it? No, 23-24, sorry. 23-24, we were in Europa League. We're going down the same path, and we had chances to tie Manchester United. Can you believe that? Manchester United, the one who was poverty prior to the Amaranth sacking, we're beneath them. Unbelievable.
Yeah. We got a question in the chat for you, actually, from Blessing Paintsel. Your honest opinion on how far the Galaxy will go this season and for Concacaf. So we'll say how far we get in Concacaf and then position in the table final for MLS Western Conference.
Ooh, for Concacaf, ideally, I think like my best like how would I say this? Like, I want the Galaxy to finish in the semifinals, but realistically, if we advance Mount Pleasant, I think whoever wins between San Diego and Toluca will end up knocking us out, unfortunately. But I think we'll probably, I'll say quarterfinals, but I really, really want them to make semifinals because that would be a huge break for us.
Yeah. So Toluca and SD, that's gonna be a good game. Do you have a team that you think will go through on that one? Obviously, I think they play their game at 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. They're both solid teams. Toluca come from back-to-back championships, I think.
Yeah,
and they even beat Chivas. I think it'll be really close, but I think that Toluca will advance, I think, by a goal. One goal will separate the two, for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. Obviously, I'll probably be watching that once our game ends.
Yeah, I can't watch it at all because I don't have cable because it's on FS1 and VIX. I'm not paying a membership.
Yeah. What's it called? Are you going to be at the game tomorrow, though, right? So
no, I can't. I have class. I have my last class. My class ends at 8:15 tomorrow.
Dang, that's crazy.
Unless if I skip my last class and show up on Thursday.
You have to.
I can't watch the game. You're gonna have to random my DMs about the game. I'm gonna see the score eventually.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else. I asked the chat earlier. I don't know if many people are going. I think at 6:30 kickoff on Wednesday.
6:30.
Yeah.
6:30. I showed up to San Miguelito because it was at 8:30. My class ended at 8:15. I rushed out of campus and just went straight to the digs. And
That's crazy. That's such a late class. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't taken a class. My latest class ever ended at 4:00.
Oh, lucky.
It is nice. I
Yeah,
mean,
but I'm more of a late person when it comes to classes. You know, for example, my earliest is noon, so it's like
really? I'm the opposite. I want to get my classes out the way and get to the rest of my day. So I'd rather I have all my classes prior till noon pretty much on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I mean, I'm done, and then I should do whatever I want for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm a night owl, so it's like I stay up at nights. It's like it's better for me. Yeah.
You know, we'll go into the next bit of news. This came out last week, I believe. Let me get this comment off the screen.
Oh, I forgot. We're in the table. I think we get 7th. I think we don't get the playing spot. I think we're ahead. We're above that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So next point of news, we have 0 GAM left. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know. You might need to get some glasses on that. You know, pull the country celebration out. But I'll say right here,
I have $3 in my pocket right now. I will give it to the Galaxy right now.
Yeah, you know, I got nothing to give. I can give you maybe like an AirPod case or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone pitches in. We'll get us up some GAM.
Yeah.
But currently, Galaxy has 0 GAM. But you know, I don't think this is a bad thing. Galaxy having 0 GAM is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That means you have maximized your team. Obviously, it means you don't have any flexibility for the summer window. But Galaxy will be having some GAM coming in through the Johnny Perez deal from Nashville. And also the Johnny Perez, we have a sell-on clause from Johnny Perez that happened when he transferred to Chivas from Nashville. So we'll get some cash in from that. So maybe we'll get 500K GAM total from both of those deals, maybe a little lower. But, you know, right now we have 0 GAM, but like I said, that's not a bad thing. That means our roster is at the maximum it could be, and I think that's what Will Kuntz was kind of praising prior to this. He wanted to have a full squad going into CONCACAF and competing in that and getting as far as we can because, you know, this is something that we're taking super seriously. And I think obviously MLS goes until the winter time. So I think our main focus right now is CONCACAF, and we have Mount Pleasant tomorrow. So I think that will be a good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have any thoughts on us being 0 GAM?
Well, the GAM was used to sign Jakob Glesnes, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and also we signed Glesnes to a contract extension through 28-29 season. I mean, that guy deserved it completely. I mean, that's, you know, we got people celebrating the chat earlier. I saw, you know, he's been an absolute rock. So, I mean, if we can sign that dude to a lifetime contract, I mean, it's kind of one of those situations where you said, put the contract on the table and let Glesnes write whatever he wants, and that's what we'll give him because that guy is an absolute baller.
Absolutely.
Absolutely transformed our defense. I can't praise him enough. In previous podcasts, Payne's glazed him. I've glazed him. I think everyone that's been on this podcast has glazed him. I think every Galaxy fan has glazed him. So, you know, he's got a lot of glaze from the Galaxy community, you could say.
And he deserves it. And also, he's a really nice guy too. When I interviewed the guy, he was nice. I accidentally stopped him before. He was actually near his car with his family. I didn't know his family, and he was really nice about it. He let me interview him about like the move, and he was just a really nice guy, and we had the selfie.
Yeah, I mean, super cool guy.
I did get in trouble with the PR team, by the way.
Dang,
I got in trouble because apparently that day. It was a closed-door scrimmage, and apparently no cameras were supposed to be there. And I didn't know this. I thought it was like, oh, just a field. Like, no one's going to be broadcasting the game. I could just go to the stadium freely. And then I get that interview with Hack and Glesnes. And then the next time I show up for the DC United one to see Klaus. And then that's where the PR team said, oh, you can't do this. Like, if you want to get player interviews in the not-so-distant future, just let us know ahead of time. But I sent them an email and they ghosted me. So it won't. I don't think. Yeah, it's probably never gonna happen if I ever get a player interview.
the PR. I'll say the Talkin Galaxy's had some problems with the previous PR guy, Kevin Acevedo. We tried getting Ramirez on the pod for you guys, but
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Acevedo shut that down. I've been talking to some other prior players, kind of like Fagundes, to see if they can hop on. So we'll see if any of that falls through. And if we can get some players on the pod, that would be absolutely fantastic. So keep
Yeah.
I won't name any players, but one left last season. We're in communication, so we'll see if we can get that across the line. That'd be super sick.
Yeah.
But so going back to the point, zero gam. I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. And
I was initially mad, but then like as you said, like I deeply thought about it. I'm like, maybe this isn't such a bad thing. We're gonna get gam eventually. Every season you get gam, so it's just that total is just gonna go back up, and then like whatever happens, it happens.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of selling clause we have for a guy that we'll get GAM for in the future. So it's not like we're going to have zero influx and zero GAM for the future. Obviously, I don't know the contract situation with Aaron Bibu, but I know he has a selling clause and he got sold to Genk in Belgium. So maybe there's some GAM in there, but GAM can come from anywhere. I wouldn't stress too much about our total being at a whopping zero. You see other teams in MLS that are top quality. I think Miami has like 17K. LAC, one of the better teams in MLS, they're around like 50K, I think, or lower. So, it's not the end of the world that we have zero GAM. Obviously, it means that there's no flexibility currently, but, that can change. Players can move, and that's where GAM comes from. So, Sam on the chat, that's an interesting comment. I do not do that with GAM. But, these things that GAM can come from anywhere. So, it obviously doesn't grow from trees, but I think the Galaxy Academy has a ton of prospects. So who knows? Maybe we sell one on and get a ton of GAM for one of them. So it's not the end of the world. Going to the next thing, we talked about it earlier, but we'll touch on again now that you're here. Diego Fagundes will be. He's currently training with New England Revolution, and he is looking to probably be signing a contract there. Do you have any thoughts on Fagundes and how kind of stuff went down for his contract negotiations, I guess you could say, with the Galaxy?
Honestly, Fagundes, really nice guy as well. Really cool that you guys had him on the pod. However, the wage was really, the determining factor to us letting him go. I think, even if he took a pay cut, it had to be a big one. And, I really think that Eric Tommy was probably brought in for that reason, for the wage, because I think he's cheaper. The details of the contract haven't been released, but I'm assuming that Tommy was signed to be kind of like a Fagundes replacement. But I do like seeing Fagundes being at least hopefully close to a contract with his boyhood club, which was the Revolution. They really need all the assets they can get.
Yeah, they're struggling right now. Obviously, I think they got a new manager over there. They got Matt Turner in goal. I think they got some good guy from Israel, Don Turgeman. That's pretty good over there. But, Diego Fagundes could be a pretty important piece on any MLS roster. It just kind of comes down to how much salary he is requiring. Obviously, earlier he was talking with a team in Uruguay. But, he kind of wished he would stay in MLS because he's so close to that 80-80 mark, and you wish he gets his milestone. And I think it'd be super cool to see him reach that mark. So I think him being with New England it'd be just the best case scenario. Obviously, I don't think he was ever going to come back with the Galaxy because of the signs he brought in. I think, like you said, Eric Thomas kind of a like for like replacement for Fagundes. Tommy can play on the wing. He can play at the 10. He could probably play in a pinch as well. So, I think he kind of fills that Diego Fagundes void. And also, he's on we haven't seen the contract, but I think he's definitely, I bet my money on that he's on less money than Diego Fagundes was. I think that was the main problem, is if Diego Fagundes wanted to be on this team, he probably could have, but he just had to take a pretty heavily pay cut. But, it wasn't meant to be. Blessing Paintsel said he bought a house in LA. I'm pretty sure his family lives in Austin, and he had a house for himself in LA. So I'm pretty sure he's been settled in Austin. I think that's where he kind of wanted to be when he was there, and he got traded to the Galaxy in 2023. So that kind of messed up his his future. He won a MLS Cup, so I think he would look back on his time with the Galaxy pretty fondly. Also, was the 2025 LA Galaxy MVP, voted by the media. So, I think you can look back on his time in the Galaxy and say, hey, he was a pretty good player.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I looked up to a player. So I looked up to Fagundes when I was younger. I don't know how much of an MLS sicko you are. Did you have a player that do you play soccer like a club level or high school or anything?
I actually didn't, unfortunately.
Did you have like a player you look up to, like you're like, oh, I want to be like that guy when you're younger in MLS, or was it kind of just European stars?
A little bit of both. Mostly European, but then like around like MLS Cup 2014, I mean, looking up also to Jesse Sardes, and then I got sad when they let him go. I think, what year was it? Like 2017. I know they let him go. I thought he could stay here because it's like he was an academy player. They brought him up. He scored in 2014 MLS Cup final, and like we were a pretty solid team. Then like the pieces shattered, and then 2017 Galaxy happened. And so yeah, Jesse Stardust, I definitely look up to him.
Yeah, I think he's without a club right now. I think his last club he was at was Austin, I'm pretty sure.
It was, yeah.
I don't think
he's not that old. I think he's like 34-ish. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Kamara is still playing. I don't know where he's at now, but he's probably 40 years old now. So I think
the
longevity of strikers in this league, if you're a guy that can come off the bench and kind of play like a Miguel Berry role for a team, where you come in the last minutes and just be like a workhorse for a team, I think you got a spot in a lot of MLS teams because there's places for you. Obviously, I think some teams like New York Red Bulls are kind of lean towards the academy prospects. You've seen it with Michael Bradley in charge, where Julian gain minutes, and maybe you have another academy guy come in and play like the final 10 minutes because these strikers, they're making runs for 90 minutes almost, and they get tired. I bet. So I think you can either sign a MLS veteran like Hikamara or Jesse Zardes to fill up your roster, or Lord Barry. Or you could sign academy players and have them play minutes and kind of develop them and help nurture their potential. So some teams go either path. Galaxy look like they go down the path of they want to put in a veteran and have the experience because, we have Ruben Ramos Jr. and he hasn't been getting a ton of minutes. I think he's played 9 minutes total so far this season. So
I want to see more Ventura County FC. I said this last season, we were starting to be a more solid team when we started bringing up players from VCFC. You saw like Harper Miller, you saw all these other fantastic people that we have at Ventura County. And, we have a lot of quality. Sooner or later, we're also going to have Dylan Vanny eventually, and Mason Vanny. We'll have, Julian Plasias. We can probably even call him up as well. We can probably sign him. We even signed up Chris Rindolph as well. Ventura County FC, there needs to be a lot of investment to VCFC. I believe in them, and I know that they're going to do a good job eventually when they get promoted to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the pipeline it's been pretty effective. I mean, VCFC's been a thing for 3 seasons now?
2024.
Yeah, so we've seen the likes of Rindolph, we've seen the likes of, I mean, you can say Ruben Ramos Jr. got a lot of minutes at VCFC. He's made some minutes. You got Harper Miller. You've got Riley Delgado. Obviously, hasn't got minutes with the first team, but he's been a bright prospect for VCFC. Gabby Arnold signed a contract with VCFC. And you got the 14-year-old Victor Garcia, I believe. And he's been getting minutes with VCFC. He's been starting a lot of games this season. So I think that's a talent to look out for the future. I'm pretty sure he's 16 now, but he signed a first-team contract when he's 15. So that's a player to look out for. And, there's players that come through this VCFC pipeline, and you've seen they can play these kind of depth pieces. You've seen with Rindolph. Obviously, Rindolph was an academy player. I think he came through with SKC, but we signed him when no one else wanted him. We bet on him, and he proved out to be a good player. So I think you can get some good players from the draft. You've seen, obviously, our recent draft picks have been great, apart from like Lepley. Lepley's got his minutes and developed with VCFC, and he started some games for the Galaxy. I think he played 10 games with the Galaxy last season. So
I want to see more Lepley. Lepley hasn't played enough. And the thing is, I really have. It doesn't make me happy because if you're not going to be playing him in the first team, just send him down to the VCFC again. Let him get minutes because I want to see Lepley ball. He's gonna be great, and I need to see more of him.
I mean, yeah, that's how players are going to get better. You can't just let them run on the bench and not play them and then hopefully they'll be good come maybe whenever they play. You've seen players where they come in and they just don't look up to speed. So I think having them play at VCFC has been pretty important to the players and kind of developing them. So I think I can't say enough good things about VCFC. Have you been out to VCFC?
I want to go to a VCFC game, but it's Thousand Oaks. That's the only reason why I can't go.
Not many people come out to the 805. So
yeah, I've had multiple people in my DM say, come out to 805. I'm like, I want to. I really want to. It's just the drive. The drive is just a long one.
Yeah, it was. I think it's like vice versa with me and you. The digs is far away and it's close for you, and I'm close to VCFC and you're close to Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a drive. They get a good amount of crowd there. They get.
I like that.
Yeah, they got their little supporter group going there. They'd be giving out tickets to a bunch of people as well to kind of fill out the crowd. So if you guys are close to 805 within an hour, I'd suggest, pop out one time, see how, if you like it. Obviously, you're going to see the future of the Galaxy playing. I've seen Harbor Miller, you've seen Ruben Ramos play some games in VCFC this season. So you'll see some current Galaxy players as well, and you'll see the future. So it's just a cool experience. They come out after the game, they come up and sign a bunch of stuff for the kids. And obviously, if you're a little older than being a kid, you can also get stuff signed and get selfies and stuff. So it's a cool experience.
Yeah.
No, Samuel cannot stay at my house after a VCFC game. Sorry.
Oh, dang.
No one can crash at my house afterward. Sorry, not sorry. But going back for a final prediction, obviously we got Mount Pleasant tomorrow and SKC on the weekend. Can we get your score predictions we'll start with Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. I have to think about this one because I don't want to overestimate, because I did say for San Miguelito that it was going to be like 1-0, 2-0, and then we ended up winning 0-0. So we need to take advantage of Mount Pleasant. So if we can get at least a 3-0 win, I'm happy with that. Because if it's 2-0, I think it will probably be history repeats itself with Austin and the 3-0 over there in the second leg. Because the second leg is what I'm worried about. The second leg, they're going to go all out for it because they were screwed over for the first leg. And I know it's going to be chaotic for the players. So 3-0 Galaxy.
Yeah. We got Pain Soul fan in the chat saying 5-0.
I want that to be the case, but I'm going to play it safe and say 3-0.
Yeah. I think if we get a couple goals in the first half, I think it'll be a landslide and we'll just get a ton of goals. But I think if we wait till the second half to kind of kick on, that's going to be tough. I think the main thing is that you just don't want to concede an away goal there. That's kind of the key to the match. I think that I didn't really hit on is you don't want to concede an away goal. I think LAFC ended up tying their game 1-1, so now they have to go over to.
Oh, they tied? Oh, wow!
So now they're going into Costa Rica having to score a goal, and Alajuelense, they're parking the bus, to be fair to them, and they got the treatment that the Galaxy got against San Miguelito. So, their fans were talking trash about us. Tying 0-0 home, he tied 1-1 at home, and he got outvoiced by the Alajuelense supporters at your own home. So, I mean, football on that, So
I saw some of the fans. I did see some of the Costa Rican fans. I saw actually their own Exclave. They were pretty good, and showing up for your team in America, being a Central American team, that's just huge. That's how big you are of a club.
Yeah, you just gotta give props to them. Obviously, you see the Mexican teams; they come in flurries to the Galaxy Stadium. And other Southern California teams, they always show out. Cruz Azul last season, and LAFC's home for the Club World Cup. What do you even call it? The entry game to get into the Club World Cup. You saw Club America kind of take over the stadium. Chivas in 2024 kind of took over our stadium. So, these Mexican teams, they show up for their teams in the USA. So your prediction, you said 3-0?
3-0. Yeah, I'm playing it safe here.
And now for SKC over the weekend, obviously we're going to be missing Gabriel Peck. We're going to be missing Mr. Paintsel. Do you have any opinion? We'll go opinions first. Do you have any opinions on, and then we'll go into score predictions.
Oh dear, this one is different because the thing is, SKC, they're not really a team of plumbers because they did scrape a point against Columbus Crew.
Yeah.
However, they're not the best team in depth. So this one, I think, is just gonna be like this might be like SKC, like the SKC match last year of the 1-0 of the one where the own goal happened and whatever, and the no shot. This is probably going to be one of the closest matches. I think it's probably going to be like 2-1 or something like that. I don't know. I can't really predict because we haven't really seen a team with or a Galaxy without Paintsel and Peck for a long time. So I'm just going to play it safe and just say 2-1 us, but because Klaus is going to be that guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure SKC last season, I think both Peck and Paintsel got injured in that game. So we played the end of that game with 0 DPs on that field. So, I mean, SKC has a history of playing us when we got low DP numbers, let's just say. So,
yeah,
I think most we got Klaus now, so we have at least 1 DP on the field for that game. It's going to be tough, though. We got Samuel Chad put his comment up earlier, 3-0 with Dayon Hattie. I mean, that would be absolutely terrible. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dayon gets another goal. The ghost of Dejan Jovic haunts the Digny House Sports Park. He obviously scored here last season.
And it was a beauty, too. It was a nice goal.
You know, he threw up a heart to the Riot Squads. You know, you can't hate him for it, obviously. Club legend with the Galaxy. Odds we lose tomorrow, I think that's extremely low. I'd say less than 1% that we actually lose.
I hope that this doesn't come to bite us. I think, you know, just I'm gonna say like 10%. Just I haven't seen this team. We don't know what this team is. So I'm not trying to overestimate because I know if I like speak like without knowing anything, it's gonna come back to bite me, and I'm just playing it safe.
You know, I've had previous times where I've cursed the Galaxy. In the San Miguelito game, I said in the second leg winner preview, and I said technically the Galaxy don't have to score and we can go through. And lo and behold, we don't score and we go through. So I was like,
nobody was happy at the end of that match. That video I filmed of the one where we won 0-0, I was being sarcastic with the celebrations breaking out. Yeah. Nobody was happy. There was even some booze in there. It was nobody knew what the rules were because like normally we're used to when we're used to like, you know, the tie after like regulation, you expect like extra time or penalties because that's what they do in Europe. But here it's away goals, but it just didn't feel like a win. And they played the victory music as well. So it was weird.
Yeah. You know, I think you're probably the only person that celebrated after the 90 minutes at San Miguelito. Everyone else was probably like booing or like groaning and stuff. You're probably the only person that was happy, but it was.
I wasn't happy.
Yeah,
I just did it for the camera.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious seeing the going back and watching the video again.
You know, I will not be doing this, Paintsel fan. I will not be shaving my head if we lose. But you know, I think I was talking with Brandon earlier. He said he was going to do that, right? You're going to shave your head.
Did I say that? I mean, you know, you did. I mean, who proposed the I do the 3 games in a row? Yeah. I think that was Peyton, but
I think you and we're trying to get you to do that, but you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That would make me so much money, but it wouldn't be worth it because because the hair would just would go up like that, and I think would just stay like that. That's because I used to have long hair. I know what it's like. It's not fun after a while.
If we get shut out, you know, I'll get a haircut if we get shut out. If we don't score a goal tomorrow, I'll get a haircut. But you know, I'm not shaving my head. You know, these golden locks gotta stay on my head.
Yeah.
So SKC, did you have score prediction or am I tripping?
Yeah, I said 2-1 us, and I think the reason why it's because of Klaus. I really think that if the Galaxy are gonna get goals, it's because of Klaus, and that's just been the trend. And I'm just gonna continue on that boat.
Yeah, I think. So you say 2-1. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 1-0 game. I think Sporting Kansas City. Pretty low firepower aside from Dejan Jovic. They sold their winger Daniel Shallowy, and they got Manu Garcia. That's a threat. He's kind of like a 10, similar to Pep Biel and Charlotte, that he kind of pulls the strings for the team.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the level kind of that you're like shivering in your boots that he's gonna be like, oh, this guy's gonna absolutely score bangers on us. But he's someone to watch out for. So I think those are my two guys to watch out for:
Oh,
Daniel
absolutely.
and Manu Garcia. He's kind of more of an 8 for the team, I think. So those are the two guys to keep an eye out for. So I'm say 1-0. I think their firepower is pretty low apart from those two. So I think we should keep a clean sheet. Obviously, we're going to have Glesnes. We're going to have probably I hope Hack starts. I want to see Hack start. I think
thought that was going to happen against Colorado. I thought it was going to be Hack Glesnes because I thought the assumption was you were going to save Yoshida for CCC because that's what happened with San Miguelito. But then I see the lineup with Glesnes and Yoshida. I'm like, is Glesnes going to start for? Is Hack going to start for the CCC now? It was weird seeing that lineup as well.
Yeah, I think that. I want to see tomorrow. I want to see Hack and Glesnes be the center back duo. I think if you're gonna test it out in the game, I think it's this game. Hack is a pretty good ball playing center back. I think he struggles when he's turned his back and he's got like turn and stuff. So I think if he can find the passes facing forward, playing center back, I think he'll be fine. Payne's obviously been saying that he wants to see more of Hack at center back because he doesn't think that he fits into the system. And I agree with him that
I agree with him as well.
Yeah. I think a bunch of Galaxy fans, you see that he kind of struggles. He's not very good in possession when he's turning and trying to break lines with his passes. But I think if he's facing the field and he sees the whole field, I think that's where his vision can come into play and he can be effective for the Galaxy. So I think Hack tomorrow is going to be important if he plays center back. So that's what I hope for. And if that works out, I think maybe see that over in SKC. But I think in SKC, we'll see what happens tomorrow. If Hack plays tomorrow looks good, I think he starts over the weekend with Glesnes and versus SKC. But if not, I think you'll probably see the same starting lineup bar our two wingers in SKC.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
We'll do one final thing before we head off. We'll go starting 11 for tomorrow's game. I think I'll say mine and we'll see if you agree. I think Vanny's been starting JT in goal, so I think JT will continue with
I think so too.
JT. I think Yamane right back. I think I hope it's Glesnes and Hack like I was preaching earlier. I think you'll see Nelson start left back. You'll probably see a midfield of Sanabria, Winder, and Royce in that game. And then I think you'll have Klaus Peck and Cuevas at top.
And who's your starting right back?
Yamane.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can see that. I can see that lineup. I just wish it wasn't the midfield wasn't that. I wish it would be Cerrillo, Sanabria, and Winder, but
I'm tripping. Cerrillo's probably in there. Cerrillo and Winder. That's on me.
Yeah, I just think that the midfield has to be more solid. If I want to see Royce, it's because he's coming on, not that he's starting. And with all due respect to Royce, I just can't see him starting anymore because you have better options to come in and play possession.
Yeah, I think for this game, the reason I said Royce was because he's going to find the ball in between the caps, and I think that's where he's at his best. If he's playing in a end-to-end match where he's covering a ton of ground, that's where he becomes invisible. But I think in a game where they're playing a low block, I think Royce can unlock that defense, hopefully. Obviously, he didn't do that entirely versus San Miguelito, but I think in the game where Mount Pleasant doesn't have their starting 11, I think you can see Royce kind of ball out and hopefully get some nice assists, play some effective balls through breaking lines, and I think that's where he's going to be most effective. Yeah. So, and then we'll go SKC, starting 11. I think Mikovic, I think Yamane.
Mm-hmm.
I guess all considers on how tomorrow goes, but I think if I'm going into Vanny's mind, he's probably going to play Yoshida and Glesnes as a center back duo. You probably got Aude at left back, Cerrillo, Winder, and Sanabria, I hope, in the middle. And then up top, we got Klaus. And I think we talked about earlier, I think it's going to be the wingers of Cuevas and Harbor Miller.
Can't wait to see them cook together. Yeah. I've wanted to see a game where they both actually they have 2025. I'm mistaken, but I I like when they play winger. I mean, Harbor Miller, this guy, just out of nowhere, just started playing left wing. They played him against Colorado left wing. Everybody thought he was nuts. I, on the other hand, was excited that he was going to play, and he delivered for me. And I think he's going to do a great job if he plays again. He did it last season. He can do it again.
Yeah, so I think we're agreeing on that starting 11.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything that's happened over this past week for the Galaxy. So,
any transfer news?
No, nothing. I got nothing. Sorry.
I always ask you because you're the fastest, and obviously you're the one who knows the most about the Galaxy and VCFC. So it's like you're the best source we have.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do my best to be as reliable as possible. I think this team's going to be what we're rolling with until the summer. Maybe we'll sell some players that maybe aren't up to speed with what we want and what the plan is, and then we'll get some GAM, because I think right now if we're going to get someone, we have to sell someone because we're at 0 GAM.
Yeah.
So
who would you let go? Who would you let go? I'm joking. Don't answer that. I don't want to answer that.
I would let go of Klaus. Not kidding.
I'll
make my opinions come summertime. I think it's still a small sample size. We played 3 games.
Yeah.
So we'll see in the summer. Obviously, we'll always be on here Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Obviously, today was at 9 p.m. because Peyton has intramurals and I had a co-ed game. And, we're always going to have guests like Brandon on the podcast where he's going to speak his mind. We'll have the Lacuna guys on. We have the Cock guys on, or the COC, I probably should say COC. We got a ton of cool guests, so we're going to look for more previous players to hop on. And we know maybe we'll get Joe Totino to hop on again. He was on Lacuna not too long ago, I'm pretty sure. So we'll get a ton of guys on. So a bunch of cool guests like Brandon. So where can they find you, Brandon?
You guys can find me at LA Galaxy Commentary on Instagram and TikTok. I did post a Klaus edit, so please show some love to that. I love that edit and the music so much. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out to me. And, let's hope I can get back on in a few months' time.
Definitely, yeah. We'll definitely have you on another time. And for me, I'm Galaxy Runs LA over on TikTok, Instagram, and X. So keep an eye out for posts. I'll leak some stuff for you. No, I got a giveaway coming up soon. I'll probably post on Wednesday. We got a Gabriel Peck signed card.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Let's see, who else do we got? We'll give away this Joseph Pansel card. So we got 2 DP cards coming out. We'll do it Thursday after the game. If you go to and then we'll have it out for a week. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be something that'll be coming up. And I also got, look at all these cards. So we'll have more for the future. Shout out Chicha MX, who gave me all these cards and he wanted me to give them away for you guys. So that'll be coming soon. So we'll be doing multiple giveaways. We'll have Peck and Pencil coming out on Thursday. So, hopefully on Thursday we'll be in a good mood with a dub on Wednesday versus Mount Pleasant. So until then, we'll see you guys on next Tuesday at 8 p.m. We'll see you guys then.